And as we come into the space, I just invite us to remember first to stop before we start. Take that pausing breath, settling in to say, Happy Valentine's Sunday, beautiful people. I am Vicki Jeter, your Senior Minister for Louisville Center for Spiritual Living Teaching Chapter. And today is a day of firsts. And some of you might not even know some of the firsts that are going on, because in addition to being our closest Sunday to Valentine's Day, yesterday was the Chinese New Year or Lunar New Year on the calendar. And so yesterday was their New Year's Day. So Vernon, if you would please show the first slide. 2024 in Asia is the year of the dragon. And the dragon is considered the most auspicious zodiac sign. So when you guys think about it, you know, when you go to a Chinese restaurant and they have those paper things that have all the Chinese zodiac around them, I always think about that. And it, according to their belief, babies born in the year of the dragon possess remarkable qualities throughout their whole lives that include cleverness, charm, eloquence, wealth, and the natural tendency to bring harmony wherever they go. And my invitation to you is recognizing that each time you feel reborn, you can just know that this is the year of the dragon, and I am embracing all of those qualities. And our speaker today is one of our newest practitioners, the fabulous Miss Louise Tallen. And she is also bringing us our first workshop for the year, Uncovering Wholeness Within, Embracing Forgiveness. That starts this afternoon. It'll go from 12:15 to 2:15. And there could not be a better time to revisit the power of forgiveness as an ongoing life process, as we follow it up from what we learned of the 4 pivots last month, you know, with the mirror work and that going in depth and that being transactional or transformative rather than transactional. And so forgiveness work is fundamental to keeping that going. So most of you probably will recall that when we have a workshop day, our sharing time after service, we curtail it to 15 minutes to allow for a little time to go grab a bite to eat before the workshop starts. And pursuant to that, the practitioner won't be taking individual prayer time after. You will want to send an email if you need practitioner assistance. And also, finally, Vernon will be shutting down this particular Zoom from one event to the next, just temporarily. The Zoom will come off, and then we'll bring it back up right away. So you can come back in right away, but just know you need to come back into the Zoom for the start of the workshop. And I need to check on something very quickly. Bear with me one moment. Thank you for allowing me that little technical pause. And so, in keeping with all of that, we turn now to setting our intentions. So take a minute to check in and see what brought you to be with us today. As if all of this is not enough, on top of this, we know, of course, that today is also Super Bowl Sunday. For all I know, some of you are in here praying for which team's going to win. And on that note, our shared intention today is to open our hearts and minds to Louise's message of courage and transformation, to make everything relevant that follows into the forgiveness workshop. It's a wonderful way to lay a foundation to take all of this even deeper. And so, turning our attention to remember that there is one life, and that one omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent source that emerges as all of us is right here, right now, right where we are, living through all of this, through each one of us individually and collectively. And in this moment, I open this time in such gratitude for having been blessed with Louise's inspiration and presence this day, that she may be a vessel of spirit, reaching those who are reaching for what she has to offer. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I release it, I let it be, and so it is. And on that note, we do so welcome each and every one of you this Valentine's Sunday to Louisville Center for Spiritual Living Teaching Chapter. Whether you're here with us the first time this morning or watching us on YouTube or on Facebook later, we thank you, thank you, thank you for your presence. We are what you are about. You are what we are about. I heard myself after I said that. I thought, let me rewind and say that one again. So this brings us to our opening song. And this is a new song. I just absolutely love this song. I invite you to just really take a moment to take this in. This is Daniel Namad, and he's bringing us Get Ready, My Soul.
Get ready, my soul. I'm driving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm driving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Everything I've ever done, everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost or won, everything I've ever dreamed has brought me here to the present moment, here to a new beginning here. And I'm seeing life so clearly now. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. 'Cause here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Here I go, deeper, deeper, deeper than I've ever been before. Here I go, closer, closer, closer to my sacred source. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Get ready, my soul.
Get ready, my soul. Oh my goodness. So richly and deeply declared. We slide right into our mission and vision. The mission of Louisville Center for Spiritual Living Teaching Chapter is to teach personal transformation as a virtual community, living the principles of science of mind, and celebrating all paths to God, which of course manifests our vision of a world that honors and respects all people. Now, as we know, spiritual living is only as valuable as can actually be applied to transform your experience. And so each week we have an application of what we believe. And as has been for the past few weeks, this comes out of the Declaration of Principles by our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes. And so the application for this week is, we believe in the unity of all life, and that the highest God and innermost God is one God. We believe that God is personal to all who feel this indwelling presence. And this brings us to our sacred reading and meditation. And our beloved Bev Iyengar was scheduled to be the practitioner this morning, but she is unable to be here at the moment. So, living in the current moment and trusting the process that all of spirit is present right here and right now, I want to invite us to one of our very, very favorite meditations that is always a good thing to visit. And I think it's by divine right action that we remember this morning. We are going to do a loving kindness meditation. And so I invite you to maybe take a little bit longer in this moment to settle in to where you are. And as you settle in to your personal meditative space, your personal sacred space, stay aware at the same time of all the beings around you that are in this sacred space with you. There was a time when, in my experience, I would have said that it's not possible to really be in that depth of meditative space if I'm paying attention to anyone else. But I have since learned that it is possible for spirit to basically do two things at once and really stay aware also of the meditative presences around you as we do this meditation. And at certain points, you might even want to open your eyes since we can see each other in this moment. So just take that pausing breath. Come into the gap of grace between the inhale and exhale. And turn the invitation to the purity of loving kindness. And as Pat Ferguson so diligently taught us, when we do a loving kindness meditation, we begin with ourselves. And so find yourself within and say, may you be happy and healthy. May you be abundant. And may you live with ease and grace. Now taking a breath, turn your attention to the people closest to you, either biologically or by chosen family. Imagine now that you're forming an intimate circle of your partner, your children, your beloved pets, your neighbors, the people closest to you in your life. Imagine them circled up around you. Imagine being able to be hand to hand and heart to heart and say, may you be happy and healthy. May you be abundant. May you live with ease and grace. Now take another breath, having everything set just the way it is. Imagine an even larger breath creates another circle around the circle. And in this circle, extend it to people that in human terms you might consider acquaintances. Imagine the people that you see at your grocery, or the people that you see at the post office, the people you work with but aren't necessarily as close to. Imagine them coming around. Imagine the joy that they would feel at being invited to come into this sacred circle and say, may you be happy and healthy. May you be abundant. May you live with ease and grace. And one more time, with all these people circled up, take another breath and imagine the even wider circle that includes everyone you can possibly imagine that you see in your life, that you connect to in your life. Imagine that God can extend this circle to everyone who is in your consciousness. And that together, as a community, we can envelop the entire globe. Take that breath and say, may you be happy and healthy. May you be abundant. May you live with ease and grace. And with profound gratitude for this opportunity, with profound gratitude for the beautiful beings in this circle that have exponentially set forth this blessing, we are grateful. And I release it, I let it be, and so it is. This brings us to our special music, which was chosen by our illustrious speaker this morning, In This Moment by Robin Hackett.
This is a moment, this is the hour, time to put everything on the line. And I am the answer, I am the reason, I'm a believer, it's all inside of me. And I will not be broken. This is a revolution. I am a changer. I am the master of all I see. And I'm the beloved. I am a lover. I am the spirit inside of you and me. And I will not be broken. Thank you so much.
It is so awesome to learn about all the incredible music that's out there and how it just keeps growing. I could never find it all without these beautiful people that come to share with us. And so really, this is a woman who needs no introduction. She's family and she's spoken with us before, but just for the offering today is where comfort ends, transformation begins. And I'm just going to turn it right over to Miss Louise.
Thank you so much, Vicki. It's great to be with you here this morning. And as Vicki mentioned, the Reverend Vicki mentioned, the global theme for February is divine discomfort. And last week she talked about the idea that divine discomfort comes with growth and vitality. And she pointed to treatment as a core practice to help us with divine discomfort. And so the topic this week, as she mentioned, is where comfort ends, transformation begins. And the power to transform your life lies in your willingness to step outside your comfort zone. When we lean into discomfort rather than running from it, we tap into new possibilities and expand our lives in new directions. But for how many of us is it super comfortable to step out of our comfort zone? Now, it's a strange paradox in a way, because we often think in new thought. We're taught not to entertain quote unquote negative emotions or thoughts. We only think about what we want. And we're often told if you do all your work, you'll be happy, joyous, and free. And that really can lead some people to spiritual bypass or to shy away from doing any real deep inner or outer work. Because if you're afraid to, or unwilling to embrace all of who you are, all of your feelings, all of your parts, which might be uncomfortable, you can't grow. Why? Because you can't know where you want to go and who you want to be if you don't understand where and who you have been in the past and who you are now. So the first step in stepping outside your comfort zone may well be to go inside and look at yourself, or maybe just take a leap. Some of my most rewarding adventures and discomfort have come from taking that leap before my mind could argue for why not to do it. Several years ago, a friend sent me an email about auditions for a new improv team forming in Lexington. Now, I'm not an actor. I don't have any experience. I looked at the email, and without thinking about it, I signed up for the audition, and of course, immediately regretted it. The day of the audition, I sat in my car thinking, what am I doing? This is ridiculous. But I went in, and I was really uncomfortable. After the audition, I thought, well, that's the end of it. I did it, stepped out of my comfort zone, and then immediately went on vacation. On vacation, I received an email telling me I'd made the improv team. And my first thought was, oh, they sent out the wrong email. These are the people who really didn't make the team. But I did. And taking that leap into being uncomfortable has led me to some amazing experiences, because improv is a place where you're always taking a leap into the unknown and therefore sometimes uncomfortable. Now, that's really a small example, and it only impacted my life. But stepping out of your comfort zone can bring great societal and cultural change. And to affect change at the cultural level, we have to be willing to think about more than our own comfort. We have to understand and embrace the experiences of people who are different from us and with whom we might feel uncomfortable. This might mean reaching across many divides: socioeconomic, political, racial, gender, ethnic, sexual orientation, language, religion, and so on. And as many of you know, February is Black History Month, and in the Science of Mind magazine this month, the daily guides highlight many individuals who have embraced discomfort in order to change history. And as I mentioned earlier, we cannot know where we want to go if we don't come to terms honestly and with kindness with where we have been, individually and collectively. And this is true with regard to the history and future of the United States and for Centers for Spiritual Living. Part of our global vision is a world that works for all. But what does that really mean? And who gets to decide what works? We can't get to a world that works for all if we are unwilling to look at how the idea the world should only work for a few has been woven into the fabric of the United States. And I want to read from the Daily Guide for February 8th, written by Reverend Dr. Andrea Earle, a CSL minister and a powerful Black woman. She writes, I often hear folks I wish would behave as allies and advocates engage in discourse about not being responsible for slavery, Black codes, Jim Crow, and separate unequal housing, schools, and policing. It is obvious to me that while so many benefited for generations from these and other inequities, far fewer see themselves stepping forward to acknowledge and take responsibility and accountability for current inequities. When we study our common history, we may not perceive ourselves to be responsible for slavery and systemic oppression. However, we are all accountable for setting right the truth of our past and working to create a just and fair future. This is a call out to everyone in this divine discomfort everyone with a heart for freedom, justice, and equality. This is also about change, about changing how we are and how we deepen our listening and act in alignment with what we say we believe. Now, what she's writing about is a big calling, a commitment to freedom, peace, justice, and equity for all. And it requires a willingness to act boldly and to think about the good of others and of the whole, rather than only focusing on your own needs, wants, and desires. It's easy to rest in your comfort zone if you have lived an advantaged life. And I use advantage rather than privileged. For many of us who grew up in this country, we might have more advantages than other people. If you grew up in this country with white skin, speaking English as your native language, come from a Western European background, and were raised as a Protestant Christian, you have enjoyed certain advantages regardless of your socioeconomic status. And it's been said that when people say you made good choices, it's really that you had good choices. So white skin in and of itself, and this might make people uncomfortable, affords many advantages in acquiring housing, getting loans, being hired for jobs, chances of being incarcerated, and on and on. Just recently, it came to light that Navy Federal Credit Union, happens to be my bank, the largest credit union in the United States, for decades has been routinely discriminating against Black people in its lending practices, where Black people were less likely to get loans with the same credit scores and everything else as white people. And so even in the military, where supposedly this doesn't occur, it actually occurs. And so to really begin thinking about how do we participate in this, whether it's conscious or unconscious. So how do we begin to change? It starts with getting uncomfortable and with fearless honesty. Now, last week, Reverend Vicki talked about looking at your hidden beliefs, and that's really where it starts. In the quiet of your own space, get honest about what you really believe. You might say you believe in equality, but do you? What do you really believe when you see an unhoused person sleeping on a park bench? So for your first thought, there for the grace of God go I. Do you understand that when you're saying that, the subtext is I have the grace of God, but that person doesn't? What do you really believe when someone says that you have to take responsibility for your part in systemic oppression and racism because you have benefited from it? Do you immediately bristle and think, not me? These are tough questions, but transformation requires grappling with tough questions and not shying away from the discomfort at looking at the places that scare you. I want to share with you two examples of people who stepped out of their own comfort zones and changed history. The first is Bryan Stevenson, a defense attorney and the founder of the Equal Justice Initiative, who has long been a champion for the rights of people involved in the justice system. His story you might have seen depicted in the movie Just Mercy, which is based on his memoir of the same name. Now, Stevenson grew up in Delaware and was affected by the legacy of segregation. Very early in his schooling years, the schools were still segregated, and then they were integrated. And he had that experience as a child. And he later earned a law degree from Harvard. And while he was a student at Harvard, he worked with the Southern Center for Human Rights, which represents death row inmates across the South. And that work as a law student, really became the driving force of his life. And so he founded the Equal Justice Initiative, which helps defend people who have been given the death penalty. And it started in Alabama and has moved out from there. As of 2022, the Equal Justice Initiative has saved over 130 people from the death penalty, some of whom have been wrongly convicted. And so Stevenson was also the driving force behind the National Memorial for Peace and Justice in Montgomery, Alabama. And if you haven't been there, it's an awe-inspiring place. And this memorial commemorates the nearly 4,000 people lynched in the South between 1877 and 1950. And this memorial has raised awareness of this heinous practice. So stop and think about that. This is between 1877 and 1950, so not that long ago. This is one man dedicated and willing to embrace discomfort who has made significant change happen in our world. The second example is Drew Gilpin Faust, a white woman. Her work for civil rights illustrates the importance of being an ally and an advocate to work for the good of those who are different from herself. She has a lot of accolades. She was the first female president of Harvard University, the first president of Harvard not to have graduated from Harvard, and the first from the South. She grew up steeped in the Southern myths of the Civil War as a just cause. She grew up in Virginia during segregation. She was in elementary school when the 1954 Brown versus Board of Education case was decided by the Supreme Court overturning segregation. Many states fought against this ruling, including Virginia. When she was only 9 years old in 1907, Drew believed segregation was wrong, and she decided to take action. A 9-year-old girl, she wrote a letter to the one person she thought could make a difference, President Eisenhower. And the letter began, "I am 9 years old and I am white, but I have many feelings about segregation." This early activity led her to become a civil rights advocate and historian. She later argued that history should make us uncomfortable as we confront the injustices that existed. One person who made a big difference. Now you might be thinking, I can't, or I don't have a desire to make a big difference in the world. That's way too far outside my comfort zone. But there are small ways you can contribute to creating a world that works for all. The key, as I said earlier, is to be willing to look at your own hidden beliefs and biases, to interrogate or become curious about your learned assumptions. I'm going to read you a couple of statements, and I want you to just to ponder for a moment what the hidden meaning is in each statement. This is from a newspaper headline in the Lexington Herald-Leader. A man and his wife were injured in a car accident. What comes to mind when I say this? A man and his wife were injured in a car accident. Who in this sentence is the full human? And who is simply referred to by their role without a separate existence? So think about that, a man and his wife. So the man here exists as a separate entity, but wife is a category. The woman doesn't stand alone. She only exists as a role attached to a man. What if the sentence instead read, a husband and wife were injured, or a married couple, or God forbid, a woman and her husband? How about this sentence? 2 women and a Latina participated in the tournament. What is this saying? Because the first clause, 2 women, doesn't specify race or ethnicity, many of you probably assume they were white. This emphasizes the notion that the default description we have is white. So the 2 women were seen as white women, and then you have a Latina who isn't even called a woman. She's just by the nomenclature Latina, which is assumed to be feminine. So there are all these ways that we have of thinking that are unconscious. Okay? We've been acculturated to assume that an unadjectivized description of a person equals white. We don't say, I saw a white woman in the park. We say, I saw a woman in the park. But if we see somebody who's not white, we'll often remark on their skin color. This is also true for the term American. Think about who constitutes an American without a hyphen. It really only applies to people who are white-skinned, Western European, straight, cisgendered Christians. Now, some of you might bristle when I say that. That's okay. Be aware of your discomfort. But if you think about it, everyone else has a hyphenated reality. Jewish American, Arab American, African American, Muslim American, Asian American, LGBTQ American, Native American, and I'm sure you can think of many more. We're not aware of these delineations on a conscious basis often, but they're part of our heritage being raised in the United States. And I know this might seem heavy to you, but remember that Ernest Holmes reminds us that principle is not bound by precedent. We can begin anew in every moment and create a more magnificent life for ourselves and our world. It begins within, but it must move outward or it's simply navel gazing. If I'm just dedicated to evolving my own consciousness and I don't do anything in the world, then what's my legacy? So if I get to my deathbed and I think, what is my legacy? It's not going to be, oh my gosh, I wish I'd worked more hours. Oh my gosh, I wish I'd accumulated more things for someone to have to throw out after I die. Oh my gosh, it's not that I wish I had more dollars in the bank that I never got to spend. It's going to be, what didn't I do that I could have done to bring more love, more joy, more fulfillment to myself and to the world? And so if you think about what is the legacy I want to leave, how do I want people to remember me? Is it being remembered as the person who had more stuff and worked more hours? Or is it as a person who was kind and brought love and really left the world a better place? You know, I was raised in Judaism, and in Judaism, there's the idea of tikkun olam, which is the repair of the world. And that it is the responsibility of everybody to, in some way, work to repair the world. And so that's really what this is about. So it's really time for us in New Thought to move from me to us, to get uncomfortable, to reach across the proverbial aisle, whether that's the political, cultural, religious aisle, and listen, really listen with love and curiosity to people whose lives, whose beliefs, ideas, and experiences are different from our own. Not with an idea of changing their beliefs, but with an eye to seeing each other as whole people, just as we are. With that in mind, I want to leave you with one other thought. One easy change is to shift the golden rule. Many of us have been raised with some form of the golden rule, and there is a form of it that exists in many cultures. One version that many of us might be familiar with is do unto others as you would have done unto them, or what is hateful to yourself, do not do to others. However, this version of the golden rule keeps its focus on you and what makes you comfortable. Do unto others as you would have done unto you is a way of saying, if I don't like it, I don't do it to somebody else. If I like it, I do it to somebody else. But the truth is, we don't all want to be treated the same way. Give something simple like hugging. Some people love to hug and want to hug everybody they meet. Other people don't want to be hugged. But sometimes people who are huggers feel like they have to force a hug on people who don't want to hug, which can make that person uncomfortable. So to begin to move beyond your own comfort zone and into transformation, what if you up-leveled your golden rule to do unto others as they would have done unto them, thus putting the emphasis outside yourself and your comfort? This requires not only thinking about the other person, but really getting to know someone and understanding what they like, what's important to them, how they view the world, and being able to merge your desires and theirs so that you can create a place of transformation together. And so I want to just end that with the saying from Hillel, who was a Jewish elder back in the time of the Talmud. And some of you may have heard versions of the saying, if I'm not for myself, who will be? But if I'm only for myself, what am I? And if not now, when? So this week, I invite you to get curious about your beliefs and about the world, to seek out people who are different from yourself, to get to know people whose views are different from your own, and to find out what happens when you really listen deeply, genuinely, and with curiosity to somebody else. So I invite you, get uncomfortable and stay that way. So I invite us to go into prayer. Just take that moment to breathe and anchor into oneness. To just allow all that has been said to radiate in your core, to just revel in the knowingness that there is only one. That with all the difference, the diversity, the plethora of ways to be in the world, that we are all held and contained within that one that is the one, that universal cosmic isness that indeed is in, through, and as all things. That magnificent presence that I can know right here and right now as love, as curiosity, as joy, as clarity, as knowingness, as peace, knowing that whatever is the truth of the one is the truth as me and the truth as each beloved hearing my voice. I know this truth, and I know that this moment is the moment, that this indeed is a revolution, that we are engaged in a revolution of goodness and transformation, that there is nothing that holds us back from being that divine presence here on earth, nothing that holds us back from spreading that love, that transformation, that goodness that we are to all those in the world, that indeed each of us is a place of divine transformation. And that divine discomfort moves us into a place of newness, of that place of principle. For we know that principle, never being bound by precedent, is always open to newness, to transformation, to change. And it is that place of discomfort that propels us forward. So I simply know that for each of us. Cement the idea that we are that love that transforms the world. And for knowing these truths, for speaking my word, I simply give thanks. And I release this treatment into that perfect action of the law, knowing it is so. And so it is.
And so it is. Oh my goodness. What a field of energy to invite prosperity. So, engaging our prosperity process, we begin first with thank you, thank you, thank you to each and every one of you who bring your time, talents, and treasures to Louisville Center for Spiritual Living. You know, I'd almost like to invite you all, if you don't feel appreciated, literally come and let us know, because we want you to know how profoundly you are appreciated as a part of this community. And in order to find your ways to give, you can always check the chat on a Sunday. There is the option to mail checks in. We have Givelify, we have PayPal. And if you ever have difficulty with any of those, don't hesitate to reach out to any of our leadership. And then we have our prosperity affirmation. So I'm going to say this once, and then I invite you to say it with me. As a vessel of divine spirit, I am persistent, I am prosperous, and I am focused on limitless possibilities in life. As a vessel of divine spirit, I am persistent, I am prosperous, and I am focused on limitless possibilities in life. Now, for the blessing of the offering, just recognizing that circulation that is certainly moving through all of our universes and our collective universe this morning. And once again, our giving and receiving basket holds that place of knowing that this is our vessel fulfilled. It comes in and then flows right back to where it's going. And I don't mind telling you in this moment, it's been a while since we have reported on LCSL's giving. And so just yesterday, I donated on LCSL's behalf to the Science of Mind archives. And that is such a fabulous thing that's going on. They have like $2,000 or $3,000 left to go, I think, to get a match donation to move the archives to a place where they're going to be secured for generations to come. So as you give, just know that it absolutely is serving the greater purpose. And thank you, thank you, thank you. And as you can see, this moves us to our announcements for the day. Miss Louise, is there anything in the moment that you would like to say with regard to inviting people to this workshop at this point?
Just come, we'll have fun, and you'll learn something, I hope, and we'll go deep.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So remember, everybody, there might be some people that came in after my initial opening. We're going to have abbreviated sharing time, and then the tech wizard is going to take down this Zoom, come back to the same Zoom to come to the workshop. The suggested love offering for the workshop is not required. It is only suggested, and you give for that in the same way that you would any other giving. The only thing we do request, if you could please make a note, and if you cannot notate actually on the giving that it's for the workshop, let me know so that I can let the bookkeeper know how to account for it correctly, and we will say thank you for that. Go ahead, Vernon. Okay, so believe it or not, we are to the first week of February for men's group. On Thursday at 6:30, the men's group meets on this Zoom, and then also on the third Thursday as well. Oh, I'm sorry, Vernon's straightening me out. The first Thursday was the first. This Thursday is the third Thursday, believe it or not. Go ahead. And our speaker for next week is in the room. Miss Carolyn Harville, our founding minister, will be speaking next week on pain pushes and vision pulls. And if Carolyn can stay through sharing time, if you have any questions about that, she'll probably be happy to give you a preview. And the Wednesday Wistful Wisdom Social Hour is still going on at 11 o'clock on Wednesdays. And I have promised Miss Samantha, who anchors that with me, that as soon as some of the other announcements that we've had recently cleared out, that I would get back to promoting this. I really believe that this is an opportunity for some people to get a bucket filled that's kind of hard to fill these days. Just talking about things that don't go quite so fast and aren't quite as connected to technology, listening to some classic music or some of the earlier teachings of Science of Mind. And if we need to change the hour for this, we are interested in knowing at other times people might want to come if you've been interested, but you can't do that time. Go ahead. So this Friday, this is actually a gathering that Vernon and I are hosting just to celebrate briefly that I actually licensed as a minister. You might recognize this particular slide. I had this slide made when I went through this in March. And so it is a great joy for me to be able to present this again, knowing that there's no question at all that this celebration will be happening. It's just going to be about an hour, and just to come and share the moment. And I'll thank you. And if you're not able to be there, don't worry about it. It's just an opportunity. And then, of course, we welcome you to sharing time. Now, I just want to point out one thing very quickly. I was so tickled. I don't know if you guys noticed in the song, but in the one song that we had, that very same heart pops up in the water spout. And I don't know how it is, because these came from two entirely different sources, but on the note of profound synchronicity for all of us being here, you are magnificent. And our closing song is once again Miss Amy Steinberg, Get Up.
Oh, melodies in your head play over and over, listening to doubt about how life has turned out. I'm here to tell you it's not over, not over. Time to rise again, it's what life is about. Yeah, don't you know? This road we travel twists again and again. We can never go back, so keep on looking ahead. I'm here to love you again and again. Find you, remind you to never give in. Never give in. Oh, get up. I know you have it in you. Get up. I know the truth of you. Get up. You've been on the ground too long, singing the same old sad song. If you get up, I know you will carry on. Carry on. Carry on. Life is not a fantasy. Look closer, look closer. There is a richness beyond what you dream. Your highest self is getting closer and closer. Faith will make a way, but leave it to see. is your time now. Remember who you are. You are wise and you are strong. Always alright all along. You will get up and I know you will carry on. Yeah, carry on. Come on. Carry on. Come on. Carry on. You will carry on. Get up. Yeah. Get up. You will carry on. Get up. Get up. Come on. Carry on. Get up. Get up. Get up. You will carry on. Carry on.
As ever, if you are so inclined, I do encourage you to actually say our benediction out loud, following the 5 steps of treatment. I recognize there is one life. That life is spirit. Spirit is all that is. I am unified with spirit. I am one with all that is. I realize that spirit is good. As spirit is good, I am good. All good expresses in, as, and through me now. Thank you, Spirit. I release it. I let it be. And so it is.